Today we take a moment to celebrate and remember the extraordinary life of a woman who helped define the golden age of Hollywood, Cora Sue Collins, the former child star who left an unforgettable mark on cinema history during the 1930s and 1940s has passed away at the age of 98. With her passing, we bid farewell to one of the last living connections to the early days of classic Hollywood, an era of grand storytelling, iconic stars, and unforgettable silver screen magic. Cora Sue Collins was born on April 19, 1927, in Beckley, West Virginia. She entered the film industry at a remarkably young age, making her debut when she was just 5 years old. At a time when Hollywood was rapidly evolving, she became one of its youngest and brightest stars. Studios were producing dozens of films a year, and child actors were increasingly in demand. But even among a crowded field, Cora Sue stood out. She wasn't just cute, she had presence. She had an emotional depth that allowed her to hold her own alongside the biggest stars of the day. Her career spanned over a decade, during which she appeared in more than 30 films, many of which are now considered classics. Early on, she starred in Queen Christina, 1933, playing the young version of Greta Garbo's character. It was a small role, but her performance was noticed. The transition from a young girl to Garbo's commanding adult queen was believable, in part because of Cora Sue's emotional groundwork. Another standout role came in Imitation of Life, 1934, a bold film for its time that addressed issues of race and class. Though not the lead, her supporting role helped ground the film's emotional core. Audiences connected with her authenticity, a rare quality even among adult actors. By the time she appeared in Anna Karenina, 1935, alongside Garbo once more, and in All This and Heaven 2, 1940, with Bette Davis, she had firmly established herself as a serious young performer capable of complexity and charm. Working during Hollywood's studio era was no easy feat, especially for child actors. Days were long, expectations were high, and the spotlight was relentless. But by all accounts, Cora Sue remained grounded. Those who worked with her often praised her professionalism and her ability to deliver performances that felt both natural and deeply moving. In many ways, Cora Sue Collins grew up in front of the camera, and did so with grace. Her career allowed her to work with legendary figures, Greta Garbo, Joan Crawford, Lionel Barrymore, Clark Gable, and more. Each film she joined became a learning experience, a chapter in a career that mirrored the transformation of American cinema. But unlike many child stars who struggled to find their place as they aged out of youth roles, Cora Sue chose a different path. In the early 1940s, she gradually stepped away from the industry. She made the difficult but deliberate decision not to pursue adult stardom. In interviews, she spoke about the pressures of the studio system and how she wanted to live a more private, grounded life. For many, this was seen as an act of quiet bravery, an understanding that her value didn't depend on the spotlight. Over the years, she became a steward of Hollywood history. While she no longer acted, she remained connected to the film community, frequently participating in film retrospectives, festivals, and interviews. Her passion for the craft never faded. Instead, she became a living memory, a witness to a bygone era that modern audiences could only read about or see on film reels. She offered insight into what it was like to be a child on the set of some of the most iconic films of all time. She told stories about the old MGM lot, the way scenes were rehearsed over and over, and the camaraderie and sometimes tension among the big stars of the day. These weren't just anecdotes. They were first-hand accounts from someone who had walked those golden corridors. One of her final public appearances was at the 2024 TCM Classic Film Festival, where she was warmly received by fans and fellow film lovers. She walked the red carpet with elegance and joy, reminding everyone in attendance that while many of her co-stars and contemporaries had passed on, she remained a proud ambassador of classic Hollywood. Her presence lit up the event, not out of fame, but because she symbolized an era long gone yet forever cherished. Even in her later years, Cora Sue Collins continued to inspire. Her story, one of talent, grace, and ultimately choice, is a reminder that success isn't just about fame. It's about the courage to forge your own path, whether in front of the camera or far from it. Her passing at the age of 98 is not only a loss for film history, but a deeply personal moment for those who knew her and admired her. She lived a long, fulfilling life, one that began under the bright lights of Hollywood and matured into quiet reflection, advocacy, and joy. Through her films, her interviews, and her legacy, she leaves behind a treasure trove of memories that continue to delight audiences young and old. Cora Sue Collins was more than a child actress. She was a storyteller, a pioneer, and a symbol of Hollywood's golden spirit. Her charm, depth, and natural screen presence made her an unforgettable figure during one of the most influential periods in film history. She represented not only youthful talent, but also resilience and grace. In an industry that was both glamorous and demanding, even after leaving the spotlight, her devotion to preserving cinema's heritage and her willingness to share memories of a vanished world ensured her continued influence. Her legacy will continue to shine in black and white and Technicolor, in archives and on screens, in the stories she helped tell and the lives she touched. Every performance she gave is a piece of cinematic history, a living memory captured in celluloid. She reminds us that the magic of movies isn't just in the stars we see on screen, but in the spirit and humanity they bring to their roles, a quality she embodied completely. Even though the final curtain has fallen, Cora Sue's story remains vivid, inspiring generations of artists, historians, and fans who continue to celebrate the timeless wonder of classic Hollywood.